Hello, everyone. This is Independent Conservative. I am Ryan Bolin. Thank you all for joining me. First thing first, I want to address the name change. The reason why I changed the name of my YouTube channel from Another Black Conservative to Independent Conservative is number one, it gets people's minds off of the fact that I am a black man. Okay, so you won't have to. When you watch my videos, it's clear that I am a black man. So I don't have to necessarily put another black conservative. I am another black conservative, but I don't have to give it that title for you to know that I am a black conservative. The other reason is that I found out in my readings, particularly from Mark Dice's book that he just published entitled War on Conservatives, that there are different kinds of conservatives. There are I think he called them paleo conservatives, neocons, rhinos. I'm pretty familiar with the neocons or new conservatives and the rhinos, Republicans in name only. I'm pretty familiar with them, but he gave a more detailed analysis of that. I'm more in the realm of the paleo conservative. The paleo conservatives are basically conservatives who are more traditional. Okay, whereas the neoconservatives are conservatives that essentially push for foreign policy. That's what George Bush was in his camp when he was president of the United States. He was what's called a neoconservative, and then of course you have Republicans in names only or rhinos. They're just hypocrites. They talk the talk, but they don't walk the walk. Paleo conservatives are more traditional. They were the conservatives that were in existence, according to Mark Dice's research, prior to the 1960s and were basically ousted out of the political party of the Republican Party, rather, during the 60s. And I'm not going to go into the details. I highly recommend you buy his book, War on Conservatives, to get a more detailed analysis of that. But I put myself into the realm of independent conservative because of the simple fact that I am not registered as a Republican. I am still at this point registered as a Democrat. I just have not gotten to the point where I'm able to register myself in any formal way. I would probably register myself as independent if that category is still in existence and vote for who I want to vote for. And it will more than likely be a Republican. But if this Republican's worldviews is not lined up with my worldviews, then I would not vote for him. I'm definitely not going to vote for no Democrat. Okay, so I'm a conservative because conservative values line up with what I personally believe in. Okay, but I'm independent because I'm not necessarily registered or affiliated with any type of conservative outlet. Okay, so having said all of that, hope you all like the new name Independent Conservative. But having said all that, I want to get right into my discussion here today. And I want to talk about an article I read from Newsbreak, and it's in reference to a 18-year-old teenager from Texas who essentially was suspended for 13 days. In his high school, he was suspended for 13 days for not complying to certain dress codes or the wearing of his hair. I think he had like locks in his hair and so forth. You've seen a picture of that. You see a picture of it in terms of my clickbait, but he didn't want to comply in terms of his hair. That his hair extended down to his eyes, according to the article I'm about to read, and he didn't comply, so he was suspended for 13 days. Now, the question is, was this racist? Was this discrimination? Well, I'm going to give you my opinion once I read you this article. So let's get right into this. This is becoming a major situation. Well, maybe I shouldn't say major situation, but a situation within the black community. It's almost like black people just have to hold on to this idea of their uniqueness among other races. But we get right into this. A Texas high school sent a black student back to in-school suspension Tuesday for refusing to change his hairstyle, renewing a months-long standoff over a dress code policy the teen's family calls discriminatory. The student, Daryl George, was suspended for 13 days because his hair is out of compliance when let down, according to a disciplinary notice issued by Barbers High School in Mount Belvieu, Texas. It was his first day back at the school after spending a month at an off-site disciplinary program. So this young man was already suspended for about a month for disciplinary issues. Let's find out what these issues were. George, 18, already has spent more than 80% of his junior year outside of his regular classroom. Why? You know, so we not, you don't seem that they addressing the problem here. 80% of the year, 80% of the year of his class outside the classroom. Is it that serious? I don't want to go too far here. Let's get right into this. He was first pulled from the classroom at the Houston area school in August after school officials said his braided locks fell below his eyebrows and earlobes and violated the district's dress code. His family argues the punishment violates the Crown Act, which became law in Texas in September and is intended to prohibit race-based hair discrimination. The school says the Crown Act does not address hair length. We are just trying to take it day by day. That's all we can do, his mother, Darisha George, told the Associated Press. Excuse me. We do not see the light at the end of the tunnel, but we are not giving up. The dress code policy at Barbers Hill Independent School District attracted headlines in 2020. Notice it's independent. So this is a special kind of schooling, okay? I'm going to assume that this is a special kind of schooling. It's, you know, and what I mean by special kind is like, you know, they teach certain educational programs for maybe gifted students or maybe students that are trying to get some, you know, acquire certain skills in certain areas, okay? So it says school district attracted headlines in 2020 when a black student was forbidden to return to school or attend his graduation ceremony unless he cut his locks. Greg Poole, who has been district superintendent since 2006, has said the policy is legal and teaches students to conform as a sacrifice benefiting everyone. School officials, now he says, the policy is legal and it teaches students to conform as a sacrifice benefiting everyone, not just one particular person. But if I remember, I'm gonna talk about that when I complete this, but I want you guys to get the entire gist of what is going on here. School officials said George was sent to the disciplinary program for violating the dress code and the tardy policy. So let's get this again. School officials said George was sent to the disciplinary program for violating the dress code and the tardy policy. So here we're dealing with the dress code and tardy policy. So clearly he was not dressing the way he should have been dressing, and he was tardy. Probably, I'm pretty sure more than he should have been. Disrupting the in-school suspension classroom and not complying with school directives. So here's another. He was disrupting the in-school suspension classroom and not complying with school directives. So according to this article, this boy was basically disruptive. For various reasons, doesn't say, but he was disruptive. Okay, let's go on. As he completed his punishment there, district spokesperson David Bloom said George was told he would go back in person suspension unless he trimmed his hair. George's family has filed a formal complaint with the Texas Education Agency and a federal civil lawsuit against the state's governor and attorney general, along with the school district, alleging they failed to enforce the new law outlawing discrimination based on hairstyles. The school district has filed a lawsuit in state district court asking the judge to clarify whether its dress code restrictions limited students' hair length for boys violates the Crown Act. State Representative Ron Reynolds, a Democrat and chair of the Texas Legislative Black Caucus, said he planned to file an amendment to the law during the next session that, quote, specifically addresses length to stop their pretextual argument to not comply with the Crown Act. And he says, they are acting in bad faith to continue discriminating against African-American students, Reynolds said in an email. Wow. George said he feels like he's been singled out because there are other boys in the school with longer hairstyles than his. He was denied an exemption that the family requested because of the hairstyle's cultural and religious importance. It's frustrating because I'm getting punished for something everyone else is doing, growing hair, having hair, George said. End of article. I don't believe that is, honestly, that's the end of the article right there. Honestly, right at the back, I don't believe that that's the case at all. Is it possible that they're discriminating against him based on his hair and based on the fact that he's black? Possible. It's possible. It's possible. Because I'm pretty sure, I mean, and this is what we as conservatives oftentimes get accused of. We get accused of saying that racism doesn't exist at all in America. Conservatives have never said that I know of that racism doesn't exist in America. Stop playing games. Racism exists in America among whites, among blacks, among Hispanics, among every person. You want to know why? Because we're all human and flawed. And white people aren't the only ones racist. That's a bunch of nonsense, but I'm not going to go into the detail of that here. Okay, let's quit playing these games and keep it 100. Now, is it possible that he was discriminated against simply because he's black and he has these? It's possible, but highly unlikely. Clearly, the article states that this boy had disciplinary problems in terms of his dress code and coming late. Now, what led up to that, who knows? But clearly, he has had disciplinary problems, and that's why he was sent to the disciplinary program to begin with. Okay? Here's one of the things that's disturbing to me is that the parents and this young boy, or the mother and this young boy for this case, is more concerned about his hair than his education. This thing about black solidarity in terms of the way you look and the way you dress, the way you look and the way you dress, to me, I think it gives a limited expression of black people in America. Okay, because what you're saying in essence is that the way I have my hair and the way I dress defines me as a black man or defines me as a black woman, distinct and unique among everyone else. If that's how you view it, put it like this, if that's how another black person views blackness, then more power to you, my brother and my sister. But me personally, I don't view blackness like that. Okay, look. I see myself as a person made in the image of God. Now, whether or not you want to feel that God exists or not does not matter to me. It's your choice. I choose to believe he exists. I choose to believe that Jesus Christ is real, and that's the way it is, okay? My self-worth is based on my relationship with God. And the reason why I say that, without going into too much detail, is because what God thinks about me does not change based on how I feel or what I own or what I have and don't have. So since God's view of me does not change, then my view of me does not change regardless of these externals. And it kind of disturbs me. Well, I won't say kind of disturb me, but does disturb me when I hear these stories of black people, particularly black youth, that want to be so at one with this whole black culture thing that they're willing to sacrifice their education over some hair locks. Listen, if the school wants you to cut your hair or to have your hair a certain way, I won't say cut, but have your hair a certain way, just comply. When you get out of the school, let your hair down. It's really simple. Do whatever you want to do outside the school, boo. You do whatever you want to do. You're not in the school 24 hours a day. You're not in the school 7 days a week. When you out of the school, do whatever you want to do. You can wear wigs if you want to wear them. You can do whatever because you're not inside the school. But that school has certain standards. Every school has certain and should have certain standards by which every student has to comply with. It makes no sense for the government to constantly mandate these schools and these businesses to comply to the feelings of every little argument and crybaby nonsense that comes out. Oh, man, he just, they won't let me have my hair a certain way, because, endure that while you're in there. And then when you leave, let your hair down, do whatever. But when you're there, comply by the rules. Those are the rules. Any corporation or any business, for that matter, has certain rules that you got to abide by. Churches have certain rules that you got to abide by. Businesses have certain rules that you have to abide by. If my own apartment, I don't own it, but I rent. But I'm renting it. I'm paying the rent. So if someone comes in my apartment that I pay rent to, or if I invite them to my apartment that I pay rent to, okay, I'm paying the rent, I'm paying the bills. I may have certain rules in my apartment that they have to comply by. Why? Because I am the one paying the rent, not them. You my guest, boo-boo. So you comply with my rules. If you don't want to comply with my rules, then you can't get in. Those are my rules, and I should have the right, because I pay the rent here, to make my own rules. Same principle. It's pretty simplistic. It's pretty straightforward. The schools have the right to make their rules. Everyone has to follow the rules. And he makes this statement that, the boy makes a statement that he feels like he's being singled out because other people are wearing long hair and wearing hair. I don't believe that at all. I don't believe that at all. Because the hair that they probably wearing is natural. Okay? This stuff he got is not natural. Putting your hair like this in locs and having it on is not natural. It's not natural. You're making your. It's like if I create my hair like back in the 60s. Back in the 60s in the Black Power movement, it was this whole idea of wearing big afros to demonstrate solidarity and oneness with Africa, and they called it the natural. Okay, it was called the natural, and they would have your hair puffed up like, you know, with big afros, because it's supposed to be a reflection of your African heritage. Hence, they called it the natural. And I used to always wonder, okay, I get what they're saying, I get it, I understand it. But I would look at old pictures of African prince and priests, you know, so forth, back in thousands of years ago in pre-colonized Africa and pre-colonized Egypt, and I wouldn't see any afros. So I'm like, if this is supposed to be the natural, then why I don't see any of these afros in the ancient Africans and ancient Egyptians and ancient Nubians and so forth? There may have been some that I don't know about, but from the ones I've seen, I didn't see any afros. So how's it a natural? I don't know, you know. But I can understand back then, because there was true oppression. There was true the belittling of black people. But today, that is not the case. Black people in America are the most favored of all the ethnic groups in this country. That's not my opinion. That's a fact. I ain't finna go into the details of that, but it's a fact. We are the most favored. Somebody look at us the wrong way, all we got to do is go to a lawyer and complain. They looked at me the wrong way. Lawyer says, oh, I can make me some money on this. We got a case. Let's go pursue it. And a lot of times they win over nonsense. We're the most favored ethnic group in the country, aside from the transgenders, of course. But we're the most favored ones here. So we're not oppressed. And why would the school want to discriminate against this boy, this young boy, and have to face, you know, because of his race, and have to face all kinds of scrutiny? I'm surprised that Black Lives Matter and other far leftist black groups and black power groups haven't come protesting. They probably did. The article just didn't mention it. You know, I mean, come on, you elevating your hair and the way you look over your education. So at the end of this video, what's more important, your education or your hair? I don't believe that this was discrimination. You comply with the rules that they have there. You might not like those rules. Let me tell you something. If you don't like those rules, my thing is this. If I don't like the rules and they're so oppressive in a particular institution, I'll just leave. If I don't like a certain job and it's so oppressive, oh my God, it's the most oppressive thing in the world, then I have the freedom to leave. I don't have to stay at that job. There's thousands of jobs out here paying just the same amount of money, if not more. All I got to do is get my lazy butt up and do what I need to do to get another job. Same principle. You don't have to go to that school. You don't have to go to these institutions. Go to another institution that says, okay, you can wear your hair that way. But we need to stop trying to make these schools and these businesses comply to every wind and doctrine or every little emotional flex that they give. That's not fair to them. So no, I do not believe it was discriminatory. It was discrimination. I think this is another young boy and another mother, black boy, black mother, crying and complaining because they can't get their way. That's my opinion. Take it or leave it. But that's what I think. What do you guys think? Leave your comments in the comment section below. Like, share, and subscribe to my channel. God bless you all. See you again.